Well, appreciate you guys being here. Thank you as always. Very pleased to announce the 19 young men that decided to sign with us yesterday in the early signing period. I think they're all outstanding football players, but even better people. Come from great families, great programs. 15 from the state of Texas, and excuse me, and we are excited to welcome into the Baylor family. I think as important as anything, the fact that 9 will be here at the semester turn. That they'll be here in the spring with us. I think it's really important as we replace a great group of seniors, and our team continues to elevate and continues to grow. To add them into the mix, so that they can continue to learn the ways in which we do things is vital. And so we'll enter into the January period. We'll go out there and maybe have room for a couple more, depending on our current roster. So we'll go out and try to find a couple difference makers, and see what it is. But these 19 guys, again, excited about them, excited about who they are, and the decision that they made. And I think we got the versatility that we needed, and again, excited that those 9 guys will be here early. So with that, I'll see what questions you have.
This is the first opportunity to juggle bowl prep and recruiting with this early signing window. What are kind of some of the challenges for you and your staff with that?
Well, it's pretty brutal. It's hard, and it's a lot harder than it was, but it's such a benefit to know that for these young men that they can relax and know that they have a home, they can enjoy the holidays, and know that the craziness of recruiting for them is over. For us to know that we have 19 guys, and we can kind of get to January knowing sort of where we are. You don't ever want to short your team, and that's why we don't do like in-season visits. A lot of people do those. It's not really my thing. So this has been a lot of work in a short amount of time. We had to go grind, but we had a lot of coaches that wanted to do it, and I think a lot of the people that are here, the support people in place, I think that they made sure that the operation here was running smoothly, so that while we were gone, the players were getting what they needed. So it's been challenging, but it's been fun, and now we can completely turn to bowl prep as we reconvene in Houston on Sunday and turn our eyes to the game.
As smooth as this early signing period seems to have been for everybody, is it kind of mind-boggling that they hadn't done this for 25 years?
It's funny, Mike Saravo this morning in the locker room said that to me. He said, "Can you believe that we haven't been doing this forever?" I mean, we literally would be making calls on Christmas Eve, and now it's much nicer to send a text saying, "Hey, Merry Christmas, I'm glad you're in the family," than it is, just to continue to recruit. And I think the recruiting process, for the players, it's fun, and it's supposed to be fun. You're getting a chance to pick, but at some point it gets to be a little bit much. I see kids. We're talking to kids for next year that already are putting their phones away, like they're just constantly getting texted and talked to, and it's not just from coaches. It's from people that follow recruiting. It's from all these different things, and so it can be overwhelming. And so I think some guys are just relieved to have it over, and relieved to kind of made their choice. So I'm surprised we didn't. And I know there's talk about it for years and years and years. I'm surprised we didn't do it. Because it puts a lot of power in the kid's hands. The kid either signs or he doesn't. And so. If he doesn't like his options, he waits till he has a whole other month to make a decision. So I think it's great for the schools, but I also think it's really good for the student athlete.
Matt, on the defensive side, was that out of need? Was what was there? I mean, y'all signed 11 of the 19 were on the defensive side.
Yeah, number one, I thought we needed. We're losing some really good defensive linemen, and we wanted to bolster that group and recruit to that group, and. What we found over the years is when you recruit safeties, they're either great safeties or they can grow. And towards the end of the year, we started playing a lot more defense with 3 safeties on the field at once. And so we just tried to find guys that were versatile, that love the game. I mean, I always go back to Blake Lynch. He's done everything here. I think he's found a home. And so if you find guys that are grateful and humble and just want to play ball and don't really care about, I have to play this or I have to play that, eventually they'll find a home. Winners win and good players find a way to get on the field. And so a lot of these guys came to our camp, and I think that's really important. The key to being a great recruiter is not the ability to sell. It's the ability to evaluate. I mean, if you miss on a great player, he beats you once a year. if you take a bad player, he beats you every game. And so, we have to find the right guys, and that's who we are. We're developmental. We're evaluation oriented. And so a lot of these guys came to our camp, and we said, man, we can do something with that guy. Will Williams out of El Paso showed up at camp, and within like 3 minutes, I was like, figure out how to get him on the team. And so so that's just been such a valuable, asset for us getting, I think we have close to 2,000 kids coming through campus and coming to our camps now. We're able to go way out. So, but just versatile people, if a guy comes in to play D-line and he's just not quite athletic enough, he goes over the O-line, he becomes a tremendous athlete over there. So just seeing where people could maybe end up and has led us that way.
How much did the 6th win, the bowl game, help you guys close the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think there was lots of positive energy and positive momentum. I think, having bowl practice during the visits, so we try to get people here on Friday at about noon. I want them to see campus while it's moving around. So the first thing we try to do is get them up on campus so they can see what really a day in the life is like. Because I think one of the assets here at Baylor in recruiting is just we have a beautiful campus. So I want them to see that. But this year they were able to see us. We practice on Friday and then practice again on Saturday. And, we don't hide who we are. We coach the way that we coach, and we want them to see it. We want them to see the way we practice. And it's always valuable for me. I always like to see who's on their phone and who's knee-deep in the drills. Hakeem Vance comes in from Mississippi. I've only met him a couple times. He's been able to come through, and he's literally asking questions of the older players in the drills, and I'm saying he's going to be one of us. And so the bowl practice, the mood, I think, around everybody, and, I think just people saying, hey, they're trending in the right direction, I think has helped us, at the very end in recruiting.
You mentioned Will Williams. I can't think of the last time Baylor got a recruit from El Paso. What did you see from him?
Well, I think Mike Saravos early on, I think saw his tape and liked it, or like whoever, and invited him to camp. But, he's a guy that came to our camp and ran 4.4, 4.5 at 200 and some pounds, dynamically quick, change direction, so he can run, he can hit, he can play safety, he can play linebacker. He's a hardworking, humble kid, and been loyal to us. We offered him, knowing a lot of people probably looked at us and said, "Oh wow, who's that?" And went out to try to talk, convince him to come to their camp, and he stayed with us. And so, great family, and I think he's going to be a really, really special player. And so again, that goes back to kind of the way we do things. Without saying any schools' names, I think if guys who follow recruiting, you'll see that this trend has started. It was the trend at Temple. It's going to be the trend here now. You'll see Baylor offer a kid, and all of a sudden they'll have a couple offers from schools nearby. So it's just we try to be evaluation oriented, and we try to anytime it's live, that's the best way to do it. So Will came to camp, and he was one of the best I've seen at a camp.
Speaking of loyal, Jalen Ellis committed like 2 years ago, and I know he kind of went on visits and did his thing, but a lot of big offers for him to get that confirmation yesterday and sign him. What do you like about Jalen Ellis? Well,
first of all, he's fast and he's dynamic. He came to our camp, and I think he's going into the 11th grade, and he ran 4.3 or 4.4, ran 10.4 last year. Obviously, Sean Bell recruited him, and I tell kids, obviously I'd love it if they didn't want to go on any visits, but if a kid wants to go on a visit, go on a visit. Like someday when my little Vivi decides to go off to college, and she's hopefully got a science scholarship, and she's not going to go to the first school that pushes her. She's going to go look at all the colleges and pick the right place. So I told Jalen, because he was getting some pressure this summer, I said, man, take visits, look around. I only want you to come if this is the right place for you. And in the end, it was. But his loyalty, his personality, his family, to be able to keep a Central Texas player here, I think those were all really, really important things. And, we'd like to have really fast receivers, and he certainly falls into that mold of really, really, really fast. And at the same time, he's got great body control. He's got great hands. He's been explosive. And just when you're around him, for being a 4 or 5 star recruit, whatever he is, for, visiting Michigan and Tennessee and all the places he's been, he's unbelievably humble. He's fun to be around. So I think he's a perfect fit for us, and hopefully, I think he feels like we're the perfect fit for him.
Talk about going out to El Paso, but just, Odessa, Amarillo, Monday, all those West Texas, how important is it to get Baylor's footprint out there in West Texas with some of those schools?
Yeah, I was excited about it, and it just kind of happened. I think Joey and Sean, and last year with some of the coaching changes, we put David Wetzel on the road, and David went out and just kind of made a whole swing through West Texas. I think Jeff Nixon did a great job, and going out to Amarillo, and so, we're the type of program that, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but like, we don't really have one coach recruiting a kid. We sometimes people associate, oh, this guy's the recruiter, but we try to have every coach build a relationship with the kid and the family and the high school coach, that as coaches leave or when kids get here, they have multiple connections. And so West Texas just kind of became part of that. And we found some really good players out there. And, so to open up a whole other area so close in state was really fun for me. And, I got to go out in the middle of the season on the bye week, and I flew out and watched, Odessa Permian take on Amarillo Tascosa, and saw, Peyton Powell, and saw Matt Jones, and saw Brandon White. And then was out again last week just to, finish up and visit, to get Jonah White from Merkel. I think the thing about coming to Texas and recruiting Texas is there's so many schools playing football at a high level, and there's so many kids playing football at those programs. And so there's so many recruits. And the key is to not always just see where they are, but where they're going to be. And I think the kids that we recruited, out that way, from Will to Brandon. I mean, Brandon had 10 interceptions as a senior, Brandon White. So just excited about them, and to now feel like we're recruiting East Texas, West Texas, Central, all the way down, into Houston, and obviously Dallas and the Metroplex, to get, Zeno out of San Antonio. I feel good about just the way we're dispersed all throughout the state.
You mentioned coaches leaving. We heard Phil Snow kind of say just a couple of things, but Fran Brown leaving, how much did that affect these last couple of weeks, recruiting, and then eventually filling up that role?
Well, Fran left Friday, so he went on the road with me. Like, we landed on the plane Thursday night, because he and I were together out in West Texas, and then Friday he came in and said he had made the decision to leave. And the thing about Francis is he's such a great person. I mean, he did it all the right way. And the people at Temple were great. They gave me the option of, they said, hey, we can leave him here till after signing day. Francis is a tremendous human being. He said, I'll coach the bowl game. But I just can't live in a world where, like you're going to see it a lot today. You're going to see a bunch of coaches make moves today, right? I just can't be that guy, and our program can't be that way. Like, if a kid doesn't want to come to Baylor anymore because Fran left or any coach leaves, they deserve that right to know. And so I told Fran to go ahead and not to come to the visit on Friday, to get to Temple and get started on what he's whatever he's going to do there. And we let the kids know. And, Fran had an amazing ability to build relationships with people. And so, that was a shock to some. I think he did a great job on his way out of telling guys, hey, you went to Baylor for Baylor. And our coaches, I thought, picked it up right from there. But if you've been recruited by Fran, you also got recruited by Joey. You also got recruited by Sean and by Phil. And, if you want to come here and play defense and play defensive back, Phil Snow's really the architect of everything that we do. And so, I loved Fran. It was hard to see him go. It's kind of like, but it was also like when your kids eventually, I hired Fran, played for me. I recruited him. He was working out of football. I got him in football at Temple. I got the head coaching job and made him full time. And just watching him grow to this point, it was time for him to go and be a co-DC or whatever he's going to do. So it's kind of like your kids, where it's time for them to move out of the house and spread their wings. But he left the right way. So you don't really want that 4 days before signing day. But I hope that the kids in Texas and the high school coaches in Texas respect the fact that we just wouldn't lie to them. We said, hey, this is what it is, and if you don't want to come, I understand. And even yesterday, we had some things happen, and guys are thinking, and I even told one kid, I said, he's hearing this from some other school. I said, call Fran. Like, he has no reason to lie to you. And that kid called Fran to get confirmation on what we were saying. So he's a great person. He did a lot. As proud as I am of this signing class, and I'm sorry I'm talking so long, but I was telling Sat today, I was like, if you could only have imagined what we did in the first year here, the first year was recruiting class. We started today. And so anyone that was here that first year, Elijah, Fran, I'm just grateful to them, because that's why we're able to be where we are now.
What are your plans as far as that spot in the coaching staff of the bowl game, and then do you have any timeline or any idea of what you want to do after that?
Yeah, just for the bowl game, I know Phil had originally said Bobby. I was mulling it over, trying to figure everything out. But Phil went over to the corners, Phil's coached corners forever, and really he taught Francis how, the way we wanted to coach corners. And then Coop, who's worked with the safeties, here all spring. I just moved Coop back to safeties. Frank's done a great job with the D-line. I think they've really grown, so he took the whole D-line. And then Coach DeLeon, who's gotten a much more cleaner bill of health. I just put him back on the field. Coach has been off the field and grinded, and I just thought it would be fun to have him on the field. So you have him, and now the offensive line has to deal with him and Sean. It's awesome. So, but that's just to get through this game, and then I always expect attrition on our roster, and I always expect that in college football there could be attrition on the staff. So I'll kind of wait and see, if anyone else takes off or what else happens, even through the NFL cycle. I mean, I've had multiple coaches already have had job offers that they've turned down. So I think we have a good staff. People will try to hire them away. So I'll just kind of wait. I hate to make a move and then have something else happen, and especially since we signed most of our class.
Matt, as far as impact guys, I mean, since they're coming from junior college, would you expect maybe the two JC guys to be maybe more of an immediate impact?
Yeah, we're hoping so. Niadre, watching his film, especially with the loss of Greg Roberts and Xavier Jones, we knew we needed someone to get here and get here now. And we thought, Niadre had that capability, and meeting him. And once he gets here, the coaches at Monroe College do a great job. He doesn't eat the way we eat, and so we think he's just going to flourish and, get to 260 and be a dominant player. And then, same thing with Blake. He's a late starter in football. He's up to about 285, 290 pounds. Anxious to get him here as we try to replace, Josh Malin gone, Christian Beard gone, Blake Blackmar gone, and, Pat Lawrence gone. That's 4 pretty good players now. So we want to make sure we get him in. And then getting Davis Duvall, as a prep school player, he's 285 pounds. So he's got 5 years of eligibility, but we get him here now so he can get started. So 2 mid-year offensive linemen, I couldn't have dreamed of that happening. That's really hard to do. And 2 guys that we feel really good about. And then the same thing with Niadre.
Coach, you're going to have 4 scholarship quarterbacks on campus. What are you going to be looking for this spring, and do you see all 4 of them staying at that position?
I don't ever look to the future. So, I mean, in terms of, I think they're all going to be in here. They're all going to get trained at the quarterback position. And then competition is king. We'll prepare them. The great thing about Gary is, he's gotten a chance to get in a rep here, a rep there, but still has, 4 years of eligibility. Charlie's obviously played a ton. Jake Zeno is just a tremendously accurate, great arm. I mean, has all the tools. And then Peyton's so versatile and dynamic. So I think it gives us a ton of options at that position. We're finally whole. We've been at really 3 scholarship quarterbacks because of grad transfers. And so to finally get to 4, I was reading Coach Saban last night saying they want to be at 5. But we also have guys that, that can present a lot of different challenges. They can both throw and run. And, we don't ever want to leave our best players off the field. So, I mean, if Gary's not starting and he can catch a pass, maybe he'll do that. I don't know but we want to train them at quarterback this spring. And because when you learn how to play quarterback, you learn, the offense from the ground up. You learn defense. You really learn the game. And want to make sure they're all there and give them all a fair shot.
How key was that addition of Powell late? I mean, you had a lot of late additions, but getting him and fighting all other schools off for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing about Peyton is comes from a great family, obviously comes from a great program. You can tell that he's a leader. You can tell that he's a winner. I think he ran 4.3 at Nike this year or something ridiculous. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. And every time I've been around him, it's just I enjoy being around him, and that's such a big part of this. We spend so much time together, and so for a highly recruited kid, he's so humble, so gracious, and that goes a long way because if we have a guy like that, we can, I think, really develop him. So, coming down the stretch to get him, to get Sam Snyder, as a tight end, 6'5", runs 4.5, to get Jalen to reaffirm his commitment to us. I mean, those were big gets, at the end of the class.
As you kind of turn your attention to the bowl game now, as you get down there with the players, how do you balance preparing for the game, but also letting the players kind of enjoy the experience and enjoy the events when you get down there?
The biggest key is we just practiced 6 days straight. And they saw the schedule. I think there were a lot of worried looks on their faces, like, Coach, we're going to go 6 days in a row. And I told them, I said, if we want to have fun at the bowl, we got to prepare now. So we did 4 straight days of Vanderbilt, just as if we were playing them tomorrow or today. So we did a Monday practice, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, and a Thursday practice, just like game week. So we did that. So now when we get down there, they know the game plan. They've been prepared. Now we'll go back through Tuesday through Saturday, starting on Sunday, and that to me that allows them to have fun. We'll when we kind of key tenet of our program is when we go, we go. Like when we step on the practice field, I don't care if you were I don't care if you just got done visiting kids in the hospital. I don't care if you just got done eating Christmas dinner. I don't care if you just got in from being out. You got to go. And so that's what we're looking for from our guys. I just say the feeling around the program has steadily improved, and I would say during bowl practice, it really, to me, has come to life where I think the guys are really enjoying being around each other. I gave them the option the other night of bowling being optional, mandatory, and the seniors were like, we should all go together. And they all went and they bowled together and laughed and had fun. And so I just think they're going to enjoy the bowl. They're going to enjoy the festivities around the bowl. But at the same time, they know that we're going down there to try to win a football game. And they know that we're facing an SEC team, a good football team, a team that beat Tennessee the way they did to go to get to this game. So they've worked really hard so far, and that allows them to have a little more fun while they're down there. But we still got to work while we're down there.
You got to, I guess, look at some of the younger guys early on in bowl practices, with these extra practices. Did you see what you wanted to see with the reps that they were able to get?
Yeah, and it's funny. I just noticed just the other day, like I thought our receivers who've been a strength, like just their ball skills, just because we've practiced so much all year long, and like guys like Jared Atkinson, guys like R.J. Sneed who had to go over on scout team. Like being a scout team receiver is tough, man. Like you got to run rep after rep after rep, and they've come back now to the varsity, and they look like completely different players in a positive way. Like I'm watching them out, and they're just making dominant catches, and just so I see that development. I see guys trying different positions. We've moved Khalil and Keith back and forth. Ryan Miller, we let play a little bit of nose tackle. Tyler Henderson, we moved over, let him rush the passer where he looks like an absolute natural. So we moved them all back for bowl week, but it gives us an idea going into the spring of, hey, maybe this guy needs to go here, maybe this guy needs to go there. So I thought we got a lot done. I mean, really a lot done, and I thought it was really good for us. So we'll refocus as if it's just the week after Texas Tech. Now, I mean, guys went back to their original positions, but I thought everyone got better because of the reps and because of the good on good against each otdo
How much further do you feel like that puts you once you break out into the spring later on? I know the bowl is the most important right now, but how much further does that put you having that extra time?
Immensely forward, and like I said, not even just in terms of like just the football part of it, but also just the mentality and the closeness and the time spent together in practice. Like, I mean, literally. When we go to practice now, I remember when I first got here, it was always like, every question was, when you guys would talk to the players, it was always about practice. Like if I break, like if we're going good on good and I break it and say, hey, go to something easier, they're disappointed. Like, let's just, they like to compete. They like to play against each other. And so that's become so ingrained in them that I can see guys getting better. So it's that mentality as much as anything for me. And I think a lot of guys see, maybe what their weaknesses are that they know that they have to improve on. Because if you're not a great player yet and you want to become a great player and hey, all I need to do is this, it might be hard to do, but, I've just got to put on 10 pounds or, hey, it's easier. So I think guys have really been able to identify, hey, this is what I need to do to contribute next year at a higher level. And so that's been valuable. So I think the spring, it'll let our off season be very focused, and then it will allow our spring, I think, to be much more competitive. I mean, we'll have more offensive linemen, especially with the influx of Davis and Blake, and we'll have more offensive linemen than I've ever had in the spring. And so we need that. We need to get better up front for us to be the team we want to be next year.
All right.